He has served as honorary expert for the Food Security Program of Mozambique and Swaziland, Regional Committee of UNDP GEF, Israel Technology Committee, etc. So now, without wasting much of time, I would like to invite Dr. Alur sir for his talk. Please, sir.
Thank you, Utkarsha. Thanks for your introduction, Chairman. My screen is visible. Hello. Screen
Yes,
is
sir, it
visible
is
to all of
visible.
you.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes,
yes,
sir,
yes,
it is
you.
visible.
And I'm able to. You can see the slides moving. No.
Not yet, sir.
1 second. Sometime they're very funny. They're moving now. You are able to see the next slides?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, they are moving.
Okay.
You can just put it on slideshow mode, sir.
Slideshow. Now?
Yes, sir.
Is it
Slide-
visible? Okay. Thank you very much, friends. It's very interesting to learn that 1 month international training cum certificate program on technological advances leading to smart farming and agripreneurship is organized in a very meticulous way. And as a part of this program, I would like to share a few of my ideas, thoughts, and certain concepts. How farmer producer organizations, basically, they are the institutions of farmers, how they can be used as an innovative institutional mechanism for promoting agripreneurship in India. I will try to throw light on that. And whenever you have questions, please make a note of them. I will try to make a presentation for about 30-40 minutes, and then we will have at least 15-20 minutes discussions and question answers, so that we have at least certain understanding of the concept of FPO, how these institutions can be used as vehicles for promoting agripreneurship in Indian context. Friends, if you look at this, so we have heard about agricultural cooperatives. These agricultural cooperatives were, promoted in Indian context after the independence period. And we borrowed this entire mechanism, entire concept of cooperative societies from Germany. And we have changed them. We have brought several laws, acts, and pertaining to cooperative societies. But if you look at the overall performance of these cooperatives, it is not that very satisfactory. I hope many of you will agree with me. And they have not been able to completely address issues that were related to small and marginal farmers. So looking at this, the government of India in 2002, they set up a committee under the chairmanship of Professor Y.K. Alag. The idea was to have a complete, thorough understanding of the performance of cooperatives in Indian context, and see whether these cooperatives have been able to address all issues pertaining to small and marginal farmers. And in case they have not been able to do that, what new mechanism can be brought out as an institutional setup to address the issues of small and marginal farmers. The committee submitted the report, and it very clearly brought out that these cooperatives have been functioning since independence, but they have not been able to completely successfully, give their services to the farmers as expected. And there are several reasons for that. Cooperative movement, if it is little more success here and there, it is in Karnataka, Maharashtra, and sometime in Gujarat. In most of the other states, the cooperative models have been not very, very successful. That is a known fact. So if you look at the overall, scenario, the committee felt that there's a need for coming out with a new institutional concept, which can promote agri-based enterprises, which can provide best services to the farmers, which can address marketing issues faced by the farmers, so that farmers, they try to operate agriculture on a commercial scale like a business. And if you look at the cooperative model, cooperatives have been functioning only with the welfare measures of the farmers. They never looked at agriculture as a business entity. So keeping all these things in mind, the Companies Act of 1953 was amended. The 56 was amended, and provisions were made to register farmers' institutions under Companies Act. So if you look at the National Policy for Promotion of FPOs in 2013, it very clearly indicates that farmers can also register their institutions under Companies Act. Till then, there was no provision. If you look at the modus operandi, how these mechanisms, these new institutions should work. So there were a lot of issues that were addressed, and now we are trying to look at them and try to see how FPOs can be made into real, institutions. If you look at the number of farmers, we have close to 14.6 crores farming families. Out of that, 83 to 86% of them are small and marginal farmers. And if you look at their average operational holding, it is close to 1.08 hectares. And if you again look within the small and marginal farmer sector, 69% of the small and marginal farmers, they operate on a land holding less than 0.38 hectare. And about 18% of the farmers, they operate on a land holding of 1.37. So what do we conclude, by looking at this? Subdivision and fragmentation is going to continue. I will inherit my land to my children, they will inherit their land to their children. It means physical breaking down of the land holding cannot be stopped. But how do we ensure that these small land holdings are agriculturally profitable? How can we treat them as a profitable,
Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
institutions? Yeah. Please tell me.
So your slides are not moving.
Now?
Not yet, sir. So kindly put it on slideshow mode so that they can hear.
No, we'll see. It's okay now? So, if you look at the need, what is the need for promoting farmers' institutions? One is farmers,
Sir,
they
you
are
are yet stuck on the first slide itself.
it's not happening.
No, sir. Now it is there. Need
Okay,
for
then
farmer
we will go with
producer
this.
organization.
We'll go with this. You can later share the slides with the people. Okay. So basically, if you look at the overall
Okay, sir.
background for this, the collectivization of primary producers, basically the small and marginal farmers, is very, very important. So how do we bring them under an institutional setup is a very interesting aspect. So FPOs, they are looked as hybrid institutions between cooperatives and the private sector organizations. So if you look at the features of FPOs, they have all features of a cooperative society, and they have features of a private sector company. It means they want to do agriculture on a business mode, and they have all facets of cooperative societies, all people coming together, investing together, working for their welfare. All those features are also there in the FPOs. If you look at the vision, with what vision the government is trying to promote these institutions? Basically, the farmer producers organizations, they have a vision of building a very prosperous and sustainable farmer owned institutions that are FPOs, which will be in a position to enhance the productivity of farming through employment of efficient, cost-effective, and sustainable resource use methods, and also through realizing the higher returns for the produce through their produce. It is possible only when there is a collective action. So FPOs basically they are the farmers institutions. Small and marginal farmers are the members of these institutions. Nobody else other than the farmers can become the members of the FPO. They operate across the country and they have a vision to provide services to the small and marginal farmers. If you look at the overall objectives, what are the important objectives of these FPOs? Basically, we are trying to mobilize farmers into a group of 20 people. We call them as farmers interest groups. And basically, these FICs are the building blocks of the FPO. When we mobilize about 40, 50 FICs, we amalgamate them, bring them, we federate them into an FPO. So basically, it is to make agriculture production on a commercial scale. When I am a small farmer, I have 1.5 acres land, 2 acres land, 2.5 acres land. I will not be able to fetch high quality inputs, better quality inputs, scientific technology, mechanization. All these are not possible for me to fetch them as an individual farmer. But it is possible when I come in an institutional setup like an FPO, I can definitely fetch the all facilities. So that is one of the important aspect of FPO. And if you look at the training and capacity building, if an individual farmer goes and asks for any technology, it is very difficult for him or her to get the technology. But when you go as a group, when you approach any institution as a group, definitely they will be happy and ready to give you all the technical support, field support, all those things. And FPOs, they provide institutional support to all the member farmers. It's very, very important. And they will also involve in developing common facilities. What are these common facilities? For example, as an individual farmer, I don't have a proper place to scientifically store my produce. Under that circumstance, I'll be looking for a godown. In that case, an individual farmer, a small farmer cannot build a godown. But an FPO can develop, can build a godown. There are a lot of schemes. I'm just quoting an example. There is the Directorate of Marketing and Inspection has come out with one scheme that provides close to 60 lakh rupees subsidy to an FPO. An FPO can build a storehouse, a warehouse, a godown, thus helping the farmers to go and scientifically store their produce after the harvest. One of the important reasons why farmers go for distress sale of their produce is just because they don't have a proper place to store their produce. Well, I'm trying to quote this as an example. Another example I would like to quote. For example, a farmer has about 2 acres of land. It will be very, very difficult for him or her to maintain a pair of bullock. He cannot can keep all the implements, equipments, tools of the agriculture management. So in that case, when all these farmers come together in the form of an FPO, they can set up a custom hiring center. As and when the farmer requires, he can take equipments, implements, tractors, machinery, whatever is required from the custom hiring center at a reasonable hiring basis. So this is another objective to promote mechanization on the small farmers field. And if you look at grading facility, and individual farmer cannot bring the graders, sorting machines and all that. This is again possible when they have a institution. And if you look at another, few examples. For example, farmers want to buy inputs. Individual farmer, when he goes and buys from the market, the farmer ends up in paying more and getting less quality inputs. Whereas if the procurement of seed, if the procurement of fertilizer, if the procurement of biofertilizers, if it is the procurement of pesticides, if it is the procurement of weedicides, whatever you name it, any input, they can 1,000 farmers who are the members of an FPO can buy together and they can fetch it, they can buy it at a lower price and thus they get benefited. They get good quality, They get the inputs on time and they get it at a lower cost. So these are certain important objectives with which the FPOs are now promoted. Which are the sectors where FPOs are operating in Indian context? You can see in Indian context, we have farmer producer organizations in agriculture sector, horticulture sector, sericulture sector, animal husbandry, farm forestry, fisheries, and there are meeting. So these are certain important, aspects which are which are now trying to, form institutions, and they take it further. And if you look at the definition of the FPO, it's a registered company under the special provisions of the Companies Act, consisting of farmers. Basically, apart from farmers, nobody else can become the members of the FPO. So that is the beauty of FPOs. And if you look at the fundamental concept, they can start with certain commodities. They can start with certain agriculture commodities. They can start with certain horticulture commodities. And as and when they proceed further, they can bring in more and more commodities into it. When they start, they can start with about 300 to 500 farmers as the members, and they can go up to 1,000. Why we are suggesting 1,000 members to be there? Because since the farmers have small lands, they will not be able to operate them on a commercial scale. Hence, bringing one or two small farmers will not be very profitable. We suggest them to at least start with 300 farmers, go to 500, 750, and then go up to 1,000 farmers as the members. So, and this can be registered under the Companies Act, as I mentioned to you. And if you look at the guiding values and principles of, promoting FPOs, basically FPOs are based on the values of self-help. They operate on the principle of self-help, self-responsibility, democracy, equality, equity, solidarity. And FPO members must believe in all the ethical values of honesty, openness, social responsibility, and mutual help. If any of the FPOs which do not operate on these values, they will not thrive. If you look at the principles, what are the important principles that are there in the FPOs? Membership is voluntary and open. Any farmer who has land, who is involved in agricultural production or related production activity, they can become the members. It is open. There is no restriction whether you are big farmer, small farmer, medium farmer, semi-medium farmer, belong to backward community, belong to forward community. There is no restriction. Membership is voluntary, membership is open. And there is a democratic farmer member control. Every member, whether you are a big farmer, small farmer, you will buy only one share, you will have only one. And then there's an economic participation. As and when you become members of the FPO, you should buy all inputs from the FPO, and you should also sell your produce through FPO. It is very, very important. Otherwise, you are the owners. Nobody else can become the owners of the FPO. And then there is an autonomy and independence. FPOs are autonomous institutions. They are self-help institutions. They are managed by their own members. The board of directors, they manage the FPOs. And if you look at the management, every 5 years they elect the new body. If members are not performing better, they remove them, they put new members. And there should be a cooperation among the FPOs. If you are working for one commodity, you should cooperate with others. You should have a concern for the community. And as an institution, you are supposed to comply to the Companies Act. So these are some of the important aspects. And the roles and responsibilities. If you look at the roles and responsibilities of FPOs, basically, they have to organize farmers. They have to form small groups like farmers' interest groups. They have to elect the board of directors. They have to develop their bylaws, terms and conditions, rules and regulations for the FPO. They have to mobilize share capital from the members who are willing to join. And they should ensure once they register it, they have to undertake business of different activities, whether input selling or output selling, value addition, grading, all such things they have to do. And they also have to further brand their produce, sell it for the better profits. If you look at the advantages, what advantages it can bring to the farmers is basically it can enhance the income to the farmers. We are saving money in inputs, we are saving money in technology, we are saving money in mechanization, we are saving money in storage, we are saving money in grading and other things, and finally marketing. So everywhere we are trying to save the cost, we are trying to maximize the profits. And as an individual, when you go to a bank, it's very difficult for you to fetch the credit. But when you go as a member of an FPO, credit access also becomes easy. And you can also access several government schemes. It's very easy for people to access because you go with an identity that you belong to a certain FPO. And then economies of scale. When I go and sell in the market as a small farmer, my quantity is just 1.5 quintal or 2 quintal or 5 quintals. But when we 1,000 farmers go together, we sell it in 1,000 tons, 2,000 tons, 3,000 tons. So that's where you have more bargaining power, you have more economies of scale advantage in this. And one important aspect, most important feature of an FPO, we are trying to cut down the number of intermediaries. We want to connect farmers directly to the end users. That is the beauty of an FPO. And we are now trying to go towards market-oriented agriculture. Earlier, all these days, we want to produce whatever we are traditionally producing. But in this case, when you get into a business, you are trying to produce it as per the needs and requirements of the FPOs. And I will, what are the important activities? I have also tried to share with you. One is preparation. We prepare a good business plan. We also look at the fetching of the quality inputs, making them available to the farmers in a reasonable time, opportunities for value addition, storage, giving services to the farmers, undertaking aggregation. You are also trying to link the farmers to markets directly. You are also trying to negotiate with industrial scale big buyers, and also try to train the farmers, especially in business and other activities. And if you look at the current situation, friends, our government of India has brought out several schemes, state governments have brought several schemes, and most of them are doing good work. And 10 to 15% they are in struggling because basically lack of clarity. There is clarity issue. But if you analyze the problems faced by the FPOs at the state and the national level, there are certain issues. There are key reasons why some issues are prevailing with the FPOs. One is there's a gap between activities expected from the FPOs and the support that is given. We need to support them. They are in the initial stages of their development. The board of directors, they are also farmers. They are not capable of managing and monitoring the activities of the chief executive officer, or they are not able to conceive the business ideas. And sustainable business models are not many times incorporated, not developed properly. Many times we become very theoretical in doing our business, and we don't have any structured framework for integration of stakeholders and stuff. That's a very important aspect. And we don't have a proper capacity building setup or an incubation support. So that's what is also required across the country. In case of Karnataka, we have a center of excellence to support the farmers, FPOs, but this structure is not available in any other state in the country. And we have tried to analyze certain challenges faced by the FPOs. I would like to just throw upon few of the challenges. Maybe if there is a provision, I will take up another class. How do we address these challenges faced by the FPOs? Because friends, you are all in agriculture sector. It is very important for you to understand the structure and then understand the concept, how these are performing, what are the challenges, what solutions we can suggest. One challenge is relating to farmers. Many farmers are not aware of the FPO as a concept, and many of them they feel that it is another government scheme. There is lack of interest among the farmers to join the FPO. There is a difficulty in mobilizing small farmers, identifying the right people to lead the FIGs. And you don't have a right people to promote, serve as a directors in the initial stages. There are a lot of political interference, lot of dominance by the large farmers, caste issues. All these things are challenges that are there with the farmers. And if you look at the share collections, people feel that why should I pay the share? Why should I pay 1,500 rupees? How do we convince them? What is the collections? Whether other fellow has given, let him give and I will give it later. There are several issues with the share collection. They decide the share, but they start questioning why so much amount and all that. So there are challenges in collection of the shares. And if you look at the non-professional managers, because FPOs are managed by the CEOs. CEOs are basically the trained FPO, people from outside. As of now, we don't find suitable candidates to run the FPOs in the rural setup. That's another big challenge. And if you look at the board of directors, these are the 10 people who are selected or elected or identified. These 10, 15 people who are running the business of an FPO, they don't have proper skills to run the show. They don't know how to manage the finance. They don't know how to manage the human resource. They don't know how to build the business. They don't know how to bargain with the buyers and sellers. They don't have mutual faith within themselves. And sometimes there are groups within the BODs. So these are some of the challenges within the IFPOs. And if you look at the CEOs, we don't have trained people to run the FPO. This is a new concept. We have to now train them. And there's a high attrition rate. If they get other opportunity, they leave this and they go there. If somebody gives them 1,000 rupees extra, they leave this institution and go to the next institution. And low remuneration, very small salaries are given to CEOs. So that's why they're also leaving and going from one place to other place. There are challenges in mobilizing institutional credit. When you go and approach a bank for getting the loans from them for the business, and they look at FPOs as a new institution, they don't have any credit worthy history, and they are hesitant to give loans because they treat them, they look at them as credit non-worthy, and that's why they say they will not give the credit to the FPOs. And there are many other challenges in mobilizing equity credit. The government of India provides, suppose as an FPO, if we have collected 15 lakh rupees as a share capital, government of India provides 15 lakh rupees as a share capital as a matching grant. It's a one-time grant given to the FPOs. But there's a lot of document related. There are issues, the long list of requirements from the FPOs, and very lengthy procedure in releasing the equity grants. So these are some of the challenges. If you look at the policy is also many times, there is inadequate knowledge about the FPOs among the officers. There is lack of awareness among the statutory compliances. There is a lack of direction of flow of information. They don't know about the new schemes pertaining to FPOs. And there is no uniformity between the state and central policies. So these are the issues related to, policy itself. The government of India brings certain policy, the state government brings some other policy. So we need to bring a coincidence, a common policy initiatives among this, and lack of technical skills and difficulties in mobilizing technical services. You can go and request the government of Karnataka state offices or central government offices. You can go and approach the university staff. You can go and meet the KVK staff. So, but you need to convince them, bring them onto your line, and then take their services. There are certain, institutional difficulties. So if you look at the government schemes, now the state government and central government, they want to set up the new schemes which create awareness, about new programs. So there need to be a lot of information flow among the FPOs. They don't know about new schemes. They don't know about rules and regulations of new schemes. They don't know how to apply for that. They don't know how to prepare proposals for that. So these are some of the difficulties that the farmer producer organizations face in the prevailing sector. If you look at the challenges in crop selection, what is this? For example, I have got an order to provide 10,000 tons of one commodity. If my 1,000 farmers produce all 10 different crops, I will not be able to meet that. I need to produce the same crop, same variety. Then only I will be able to, supply good quality material to the buyer, and the buyer comes to me even next time. So these are certain, important aspects. If you look at the produce marketing, there are also a lot of demands. For example, if you go and ask, people will say you have sprayed more chemicals. Your variety is different, the other variety is different. I'll quote one simple example. We all consume, tur dal. Tur dal, there are several varieties in tur. We're all agriculture people, you know it. And each tur dal variety has certain cooking qualities. If you mix 10 different varieties and cook them, and you will have, some are overbaked, some are underbaked. So there is produce marketing also requires how do we bring uniformity in the produce. It's very, very important. Local people, they make unrealistic demands. There's a price fluctuation. By the time you harvest and bring it to the market, there's a drastic fall in the market. So farmers individually will not be able to meet the demands of the buyers. It is only through FPO. Even FPOs are finding it difficult, but now they are trying to address these issues by providing same variety, same cultivar to the farmers to produce. So like this, over a period of time, they can address these issues and make agriculture more profitable. If you look at the infrastructure, as I mentioned to you in the beginning, we don't have scientific storage facility, we don't have transport facility, we don't have cleaning facility, starting facility, grading facility, even primary processing facility. So all these are important aspects. The FPO should look at, develop these facilities, and help the farmers to march further. And other challenges, FPOs are given licenses to sell chemicals, fertilizers, and other things. Even then, even in the process of providing license to them, there are a lot of difficulty in getting the licenses. They are difficult. They have difficulty in getting the land. There is a they cannot set up the custom hiring centers without the support of the government. All these things, there are political interference, and there are a lot of overhead costs, and weak finances. People don't want to support them. There are problems relating to equity grants, challenges relating to policy. All these are the challenges that are faced by the FPOs. I would like to just suggest few suggestions to address the challenges. For example, with regard to access to credit, what we should do, we should increase the member base. It means if I am contributing 1,000, let farmers contribute 2,000 rupees. You will have 30 lakh rupees as the credit, the policy. I mean the share of the farmers itself in the beginning. And then ease of lending terms. Go and approach the banker, convince them, showcase your business proposal, business plan, and then they will give you. Get certain support from the corporate social responsibility funding. That will also help you to set up certain points. For example, technical cell, guidance cell, field support cell, a custom hiring center. All that can be done under the support. And market linkages. We need to look at CSR funding. We should use the electronic marketing. For example, we have ENAM. In Karnataka, we have a very interesting marketing support mechanism. It's a platform which has more than 40,000 traders who will buy the farmers' produce through online. So all such things should be utilized for the benefit of small and marginal farmers. And if you look at the compliance, this is basically when you are registered under Companies Act, you also have to comply. Go and approach good chartered accountants, good company secretaries, take their advice, and you have to do it. And then when it comes to hiring of the FPOs, chief executive officers, you need to look at good candidate, a candidate with good technical as well as managerial skills. Only when you will be able to take these things in the positive side. And I would like to just quote certain initiatives of Government of Karnataka, how FPOs are now being supported in the state of Karnataka. We were the first country of state to launch the FPO policy. We started the concept of mooting formation of federation. It is happening here. We are now in the process of developing a common brand for marketing of the FPO produce. We have set up an FPO cell to address the monitoring and coordination. We have set up a center of excellence to build the training and capacity for FPOs. And we are now in the process of developing a digital platform to capture the data, to develop the FPO dashboard. We are also now seriously organizing several buyers and sellers meets, and we have a certification program for FPOs, and we are also trying to link FPOs on digital platforms such as eNAMs, Rashtriya e-market, this one, Farmer Connect, Apeda, and other digital platforms. By doing all such activities, it will be possible for us to help, guide, handhold, and support FPOs. Friends, as a people working for the agriculture sector, it is our bound duty. We are there in the sector. We need to support small and marginal farmers of this country. They are in a lot of difficult situation. By understanding the existing schemes, the existing programs, understanding the institutional mechanism of FPO, it is all our responsibility. It's all our duty to understand such concepts. This is the last avatar. And if we are not able to understand and implement this FPO concept in a proper way, we will not be able to address the problems of the farmers. We should, as people working with the profession of agriculture, we should have passion to work for the farmers. We should have passion to serve the farmers. That's how we can do our bit to the society. with these few words, I stop here. And in case you have any questions, queries, you're welcome to ask the questions. Thank you. Utkarsha?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
If there are any questions, they can ask me. I'll be happy to answer their queries.
Sure, sir. We'll just open the chat box for
If there are
participants
any,
to drop their questions. Participants, those who have questions, we have given the rights to unmute themselves and can go for the questions directly to the speaker.
and in case they have any questions, they can also even share with you later stage also. We can talk to them anytime, anything related to FPOs, they're welcome. You can share my details with them. We will be able to guide them, help them. Yeah, somebody is asking.
Yes, there is Varat Shriramvar.
Please ask any question. No, we are not able to hear you, dear friend.
Varat sir, you are not audible properly. You can just drop your question in the chat
Question
box.
in the chat box. Yeah, that's better.
Okay, sir.
Any other questions?
Hello. Good evening,
The
sir.
part,
Yes, Ravinder Singh, please tell me.
Sir, as I am the student of BSc Agriculture Honors, and I
Mhm.
would like to ask one question that how FPO cut down the middleman in the mandis where the farmers go to sell their products, what they have grown in their field.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, one of the important objectives of farming an FPO is to reduce or cut down the entire business of middlemen, intermediaries in the entire agri value chain. For example, farmers buy their inputs, whether it is seed, fertilizer, pesticide, weedicide, fungicide, whatever it is, it passes through several intermediaries. In this case, we are providing license to the farmer producer FPO, and it can directly fetch the all these inputs from the producer and then directly pass it on them to farmers. One, they can get good quality inputs. They will not pay any intermediary charges to anybody because they are the distributing agency, and they will get it on time. So this is possible. When it comes to marketing of the produce, there also they can directly sell it through the platforms like REMS and NEMS, and they can have a direct contact with the big buyers, and without having any aggregators, local aggregators, block level, taluk level aggregators, they can sell their produce directly to the consumers. So that is how one can bring down or reduce or take away all the intermediaries in agriculture value chain. And this is possible with the FPOs.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, hello, sir.
Yeah, please ask.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I am from Andhra Pradesh. And one thing is, can you establish an FPO where there is already where there is an FPO, sir?
Very interesting question. I'm telling you, in case you want to avail the central government and state level schemes, then
Yes,
you
sir.
have to follow all the norms. Otherwise, you are free to establish an FPO. You can start only with 10 farmers. Minimum number of farmers required to start an FPO is only 10. Maximum,
Okay.
there is no limit. I was telling you 1,000 farmers because to bring economy of scale. If you're not interested in getting any support from the government, you can start your own FPO and 10 farmers can come together and start an FPO. Okay, there is no restriction.
Okay, sir.
Any other questions? Utkarsha?
So
Utkarsh,
I'm just checking the chat box. I'm just
are there
checking the
any
chat box
questions in
for
this
any
chat
questions.
box?
Just checking with the chat box, sir.
There is one question by Varad. They say that there are state warehousing corporations. Definitely they are there. They are not existing in the rural areas. They are there in the urban areas, and they are not sufficient to provide storage services to everyone. So that is where FPOs can set up their own storage godowns. So there is another Piyush Jain is asking about, sir, where we can get the information about schemes supporting FPOs. Yes, you can go to SFAC website and you will get all the schemes. You can go to NABARD website, you will get all the information. You go to the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, you will get all the information pertaining to FPO schemes. And if more number of people are interested, Utkarsha, at the end of your program, I can deliver one more talk on the FPO schemes. So that is also possible.
Sure, sir.
Okay.
Sir, there's one question from Sagar Shinde. He's asking that is integration and natural farming key to sustainable attainment of food security or
This is
scalability
a very
will never
interesting
achieve?
general question, not pertaining to FPOs, but still, see, we have to look at these things in a very constructive way. Natural farming or commercial farming or organic farming and all these things. One thing is very clear. No science talks about using excess chemicals and fertilizers. You should understand the scientific requirement of any crop. For example, if you are providing nitrogen to any plant, nitrogen plant is not bothered whether you give it from an organic source or inorganic source. It takes nitrogen in the form of nitrate or ammonical form. But when you apply only chemical fertilizers, for the system in the soil to convert that into an available form is mediated by the microorganisms. And microorganisms require the farmer manure to thrive as a food. So in that case, as a science student, as a student of agriculture, as a person concerned with agriculture sector, you have to understand this. One, we are not saying that everybody should only produce to natural farm. We have to understand. Start with half an acre, 1 acre. See how much is the cost difference between chemical farming and natural farming or organic farming, and you can slowly improve upon. One thing is very important, that we should maintain the health of the soil is very, very important, and also to feed the 1.4 billion Indian population is very important. We have to understand, strike a balance between the concepts.
Sir, one doubt. I'm Bhanuprataప్ from Andhra Pradesh itself.
Yeah.
Sir, what is the difference between FPO and a normal agriculture company?
Very interesting question. See, an FPO, as I mentioned to you in the beginning. Please, hello. The difference between an FPO and a private company. In this case, in case of FPO, as I mentioned to you, nobody other than farmers as primary producers can become members of the FPO. In case of private company, anybody without land, without agriculture background, they can form a company. But in case if you want to form an FPO, you should have only farmer producer as the members of the FPO and nobody else can be. This is the basic thing. And they are the owners. They come here with a share capital. And one person cannot make a company. In case of your private company, one person can be there, two persons can be there, or more number of people can be there. In this case, minimum number is 10. You cannot hold more shares. You can have only one share, and rights are equal. You cannot do more votes. In case I own 90% of a share in a private company, 90% decision is with me. 10% is with somebody else. In this case, all farmers have equal role. All farmers have equal contribution. All farmers have equal right. All farmers can give only one vote. These are the differences.
So should I keep this 10 farmers in an equal amount? I mean, they will contribute equal amount of share capital, sir? Is it the way?
We should not have differential share contributions. And if you bring differential share contributions, a rich fellow will buy 10 shares and a poor fellow will buy 1 share, and rich fellow will demand I have 10 shares, I will make more decision, and 10%, 10 times more profit goes to him. So that is not the approach for FPO. We should go for equal contributions, equity contributions in the company.
So with the same 10 people, we should go with Companies Act or some other act we want to go?
See, FPO can be registered under Cooperative Societies Act, Multiple State Cooperative Society Act, Mutually Aided Cooperative Society Act, Trust Act, Society Act, Companies Act. All these are possible. But when you want to operate on a business mode, when you want to operate on a commercial scale, the most preferred the act is Companies Act of 1956 as amended in 2013. So that is the act that you should do.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
There is one more question by Piyush. He says, is it mandated to be a landowner to become member of an FPO? See, any person with a leased land cannot become. We don't consider them as primary producers, though they are into agriculture. Because tomorrow, if the landowner asks them to get out, if there are out of 1,000 farmers, if there are 800 leased land people who have become the members, the company will be shut. So in that case, one mandatory thing is they should be involved in agricultural production. They should own their land. Any other questions? So, thank you, Utkarsha. Thank you very much, and look forward to see these guys. Are very interesting participants. Huh?
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, and all the best for
Thank,
you. All the best
thank you, sir.
wishes to
Thank
all
you
the
for your
participants.
valuable time. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Hey. ಬನ್ನಿ ಬರಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ?
Dear participants, due to some issue, our next guest won't be able to join. So we have one session, previous session of Dr. Arun Chandan at 8:30. So we will meet today at 8:30 p.m. again. Okay, link will be shared, or or you can join the session with the same link. Thank you. Have a good evening.